Any questions from the class? Just making sure I hear you. Matt, see questions?
He said in the chat no.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Now I'm sure I'm hearing you. Um, some of you met with me on Sunday. Some of you were almost done last Thursday with your group challenge 3. So later today, check Reginet for the new quizzes that I open up. And your group challenge 4 will be advancing what you have already in GC3. You're adding data layer objects, and we're adding inheritance, interfaces if needed. Um, I plan to post group challenge 4 on Thursday. Same groups, you can work on the same project, you would add information to it. Quizzes are not showing up on your side yet, but they will show up in a few hours. So check back maybe after 1 p.m. Any questions? I was happy with the way most of the group managed to do their work. Even if you didn't finish last Thursday, you showed up on Sunday and you worked on it. So it was good. I think the learning process uh, was working. Any questions? Okay, I have a lecture about data access layer objects. This is a lecture that becomes an important part of your exam too. And there are small things that become very important. I'll I'll tell you as I explain the examples. I tell you which part of those explanation will become a little bit tricky for you on the exam, and I'll remind you the areas that you need to focus on. At the beginning, data access layer objects, they seem a little bit, excuse me, confusing. Um, because we still haven't made that connection from the object-oriented program to the database. So we are assuming that everything is in the memory. All we need information about the colonist, appointment, doctors, everything is in memory. But the reality is that those pieces of information are in your database. You have to fetch them. And a good design is to have those details related to database transactions done by specific categories of objects. We call them data access layer objects. So you need to open files, append, write a query, um, check integrity of your database. All these details will be in data access layer objects, not in your domain layer objects. So domain layer objects is a colonist. It's all about colonist, uh, not about how a colonist is stored in the database, or not about what query I should write to read information about a given or a given colonist. So this colonist, that's your domain layer objects, sits there. You have your user interface objects that some of you have added already as a portal, as a form, as a page. You have your controller in between your user interface and your domain layer objects. And this is the third category we are telling you to add, and that's data access layer object. Let's look at some examples. And then, like always, I need to know if you see my PowerPoints. Not this version, the when I make it bigger. Do you, okay, Philip, do you see the big version of it?
Yeah, but I see the big version, but like it says, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but there's a lot more information other than just that one PowerPoint slide.
Yeah, that's what I don't want you to see. Let me.
Yeah.
And I no, it's okay that you see those, but I want the pictures to be big so we can look at the details of
Yeah,
the.
just so that we could see the PowerPoint slide itself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are so many things on the pictures that they'll read. So sharing on here. Let's see if I can share this one. Yep, I think I can. Yeah,
There we
picture.
go.
Okay,
That
perfect.
works.
Thank you. So there are so many different architectures out there, and I think I asked you to look at Android architecture. Um, um, People come up with new designs. So this is the basic one. This is the classic basic three-layer design. Right now, if you look at any platform that's mature enough, their design is much more complicated, much more advanced. And maybe I should post the link for you on RegNet for Android architecture. And you see their design is it's a lot more than this. They have view model, they have a database, they have repository around the database, and then they go to your business domain objects. So this is the basic one, but the basic that all architecture that you go out in your workplace, working on any platform, any standard, have at least these three, like the one I just described from Android has these three. One of them is view layer, the layer that the actors interact with. Some of you already added view layer objects, Doctor Portal, Colonist Portal. The other one is the domain layer object, all the things in the domain layer. And these are objects that you identify during your analysis phase, all the things that the system needs to keep track of. You're not thinking about user interface or design patterns like model view controller, just the business logic. What objects do I need? I need economist, appointment, doctor, nurses, medication, lab results, profiles, and so on. So your domain layer objects will take care of what's needed to be here. And the data access layer is the one responsible for communicating with your database. Again, this is the basic. Um, these are the three things. Like for any programming script you used to write in old structural programs, you would have a start, end, and a series of commands. This is like that. This is showing that you need data access layer to work with your databases, view layer to work with the actor or outside world. There could be other systems working with your system, and your logic sits in between. And as you noticed, your view layer um, interacts with your object, domain layer objects, and with your data access layer objects. This is this is the pattern of communication. So what for your design, if you remember, you already put MVC in here. So view layer for you doesn't interact with your domain layer. Why? Because we already applied a very commonly used design principle that says domain layer doesn't change a lot, view layer changes a lot. Make them disentangled, put something in between, and that's your controller. So we put the controller in here, and in domain layer, if they need to read, update, delete, or create, if they need to do CRUD, they have to work with the data access layer objects. I'm sorry for my cough. I don't know where I got it from. I apologize. So now we assume that you read the colonist, you talk to colonist objects. Some of you have that already in your making appointment use case. The sequence diagram that you created says verify colonist, and the colonist responds. Colonist is not able to do that. This is an object in memory. Any object in the memory needs to get information from the database. unless it's a new one, which eventually saves the information to the database. So that colonist needs to read information from database. And for that, you would need to add a data access layer object to your sequence diagram. The book uses DA to show that an object is a data access layer object. So in group challenge 4, when you want to add data access layer object to your sequence diagram, you would call it colonist DA. You would add the class to your design class diagram, and that class will have methods like this: insert, read, delete, update. So the methods are a little bit closer to the SQL language that you may have seen in your database classes, or you will see if you haven't seen already. So if you need to read, you have to talk to the database. And for that, you need data access layer objects. If you need to update, same thing. If you need to delete, same thing. If you create an object in memory, let's say a user is entering information about appointment, because you are creating appointment in make an appointment sequence diagram. So the appointment is created there. That appointment object is an object in memory. It has to be saved in your database. So that appointment that you have is created, it has all the information, it has an object. This object now has to go sit in your database. And for that, you need a data access layer object. Call it appointment DA. And then appointment DA has all the details, the query to find the right table or tables in your database in case you're working with relational databases, to save this specific instance of your appointment. So all this information, it's again feels like redundant. So I know I have to save this. I know this has to be saved, but on the sequence diagram, you have to show it. Let's see. I have an example here from what we've done before. So far, you've added controller, you've added a view layer object. This is create customer account. So the customer window, the customer handler and customer address and account are doing the work. When we were converting system sequence diagram to sequence diagrams, we looked at this example. There is a customer that's been created, and a customer can have multiple addresses, and one account is created for the customer and it's associated with the customer. So 3 objects here: customer, address, and account. Tyler, is it C, R, U, or D here?
Let's see. I would say it's C.
Exactly, because the use case is create customer account. The customer is new and their account is new and the addresses will be new. So look at these objects, Tyler: customer, address, and account. When do you think we'll be ready to communicate with database and write these objects into the tables that we have in our relational database? I mean, to the right, to the left, just approximate place where those data access layer objects will be needed.
So you're gonna need it once you've added 3 addresses, I believe.
Exactly. So after you create the customer, you get all information from the view layer objects, you're ready to write. So your data access layer object will be somewhere here on the right of the customer, somewhere here on the right of address, excuse me, somewhere here on the right of account. So let's see. Look at this. I want to give you a minute, read this sequence diagram that has view, controller, and data access layer objects. And I want to ask some details. And these are the type of questions I'll ask on the exam. And I feel like they are tricky for some reason. So let's see if you can answer my questions today. Giving you a minute. All right, let's see who is on my list. Philip, where is the data access layer object for customer?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Where is the data access layer object for the customer?
The access layer for the customer. Isn't it right underneath it? Oh, right underneath AC customer? Yeah, right there.
So what are you asking the data access layer object to do here? What's the method you're calling?
Write DB.
A customer, exactly.
Right.
When your object is ready, you have all the information, you are asked data access layer object to write it. Where is this, where is the data access layer object for address?
Mm.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, what does it do?
It writes the DB.
An address. Why is it inside the loop? That method call.
Wait, is it create address?
No, it's write to DB.
Oh, my bad.
Address. Why is it inside the loop, Robert?
Could it be it needs to be called multiple times?
Exactly. For any given address, you call this method once. And let's go to Marty. Where is the data access layer for account?
Down, well, on the right,
Where?
down on the right.
Exactly. This is data access layer object. What do you do? Are you doing C, RU, or D?
Say that again, so you cut out.
C, RU, or D? What are you asking that data access layer to do?
C.
Exactly. So you're writing an account to the database, and for that you call a method inside data access layer object account DA. And usually those data access layer object, not the way the book shows you your book, usually they're very close to the database SQL language. So you call just insert this, delete that. So these three you identified, and you identified the work that they do. This is your filling shopping cart. This example we've looked at so many times. There is a handler, which is your MVC pattern object. The view layer object hasn't been shown here just because it's too big. It doesn't fit in here. So you have the MVC, you have the customer, you have online card item, promotional offer, and product item, inventory item. Many of you have read this sequence diagram with me in the past. So I'm asking you to read these, tell me where I need data access layer objects and what they will be doing. Will they be doing read, update, delete, or create? So I'm gonna give you a minute, look at the methods, the names of the methods, and the knowledge you have about the use case, which is fill the shopping cart. Will help you identify CRUD and tell me where those data access layer objects will be. Keep in mind, if you're doing create, meaning that you're saving an item to the database, you must be ready to write that object. So you should have all the information before you're ready to save to the database. So that may have an impact on where to put data access layer objects in this specific example. So 1 minute. Okay, who is ready to talk? Let's see who is after Marty. Tristan.
What's the
Give
question?
give me the first data access layer object and tell me where it should be placed on this diagram. It's funny, after we talk about the question, so what's the question? What was this 1 minute for?
Would it be the online cart?
That's not the first one. That's one of them. So where would that be?
Would it be under it?
No, and I will talk about why. But you need an online card data access layer object that would save the information about this online card. Is it C, R, U, or D, Tristan?
C.
It's C. So when do you think you have all the information for the online card to be saved? Keep in mind that some other steps are helping you to complete the information you need about this online card.
Oh, would it be the customer profile?
Where? Where is customer profile?
I thought the customer would have a database object.
Yeah, that's one also. Okay, that's one. So the customer is one. Is it C, R, U, or D?
It would be read in this case.
Exactly. So you gave me two data access layer objects. One is customer, that's read. One is online card, that's create. And then we talk about where they should be. Let's go to Dylan. Dylan, give me more data access layer objects.
Would one be on cart items?
Exactly. That's C, R, U, or D.
That would be C.
Exactly. So can you guess where that should be placed?
Would it be right after cart item?
No. And then we look at the reason. Could be there, but it doesn't work. It doesn't do the work there because you still need some information from other objects before you're ready to write the card item. So probably the better question I can ask is, when does it actually write the object? Because the place on the diagram could be anywhere, but where is the activation bar? When exactly does this object do the work for you? So let's look at another one. Caitlin, give me another data access layer object.
Product item.
Exactly. C, R, U, or D?
R.
Exactly. Casey, give me another one.
Promo offering.
C, R, U, or D?
Would be R.
Exactly. Josh, give me another one.
Inventory item.
C, R, U, or D?
R.
R. Anything else comes to mind? Look at the method. The method says update.
Oh, you're right.
So I would say you could say R if you needed information about the number of items you need. But in this specific example, it seems that they're doing also updates. So they're read and update, because you need information about the quantity and you would update it after a number of items are added to this online card. So you did really well, class. And look at this. And again, I told you where the data access layer objects should be placed. My question, or the better question to ask, when they actually do the work for you, because you can place them anywhere. So let's say this customer DA is reading right at the beginning. See, you have a customer, you read the information from the data access layer objects using the data access layer object. I asked a few of you, online card, when is it that you're actually ready to save it? Jesus, where is that you save information about the online card?
Not quite sure.
Do you see a message being sent to the online card data access layer object anywhere on this diagram?
The cart, online cart method.
Online card DA.
Yeah.
Where is the message being sent to that? Where in this diagram you see a method being called? Read the method.
Safeguard at the bottom.
Exactly. So safeguard happens right at the end. Why? Because you need to add each single card item, get their information about their quantity, the promotion, and their description from those three objects: product item, promo offering, and inventory item. Get all those information, then this object will be ready to be saved at the end. Thank you, Jesus. Let's see who is next. Matt C. Are you able to unmute? No? Matt C, are you able to unmute? No? So then answer in chat, okay? Sorry, my mic is not working. That's okay. So when is it you can describe that I call a method in cart item data access layer object, cart item DA? Can you see and describe it in chat? And then I'll look at your answer later. For now, let's ask Harrison, where does it happen that cart item DA saves the cart item into database?
That appears to be directly at the bottom.
Exactly. Again, why is it right in the end at the bottom?
You would do that upon concluding your use of it, so you're just saving what's already been done at the end of the process.
Exactly. So then, Mike K, when do I read promotional offering info? Do you see read here?
Yeah.
When does it happen for product item DA?
Product item or product offering or promo offering?
No, we just looked at the promo offering here.
Oh, okay.
Product item DA.
Yeah, after find product item.
Exactly.
After it reads that.
And the same thing for inventory items. Thank you. Everyone, you were able to identify when you need a data access layer objects, one for each domain layer object, and then you were able to tell me, all of you were able to tell me C, R, U, or D correctly. When does it happen, C, R, U, or D? We have to pay a little bit more attention, meaning that if an object needs information from other objects, let them get those pieces of information before you save them in the database. Excuse me, right? There are two ideas here when you read from the database, and this is probably one of the trickiest questions. For some reason, students miss this semester after semester. At least I would say 30%. When you read from the database, there are two ways you can handle this. Excuse me. Like in this case, you need to read information from promotion offer. One way is to create promotion offering object empty in memory. Okay, so meaning that you call a method from your domain layer object, you see them, you call the constructor. Just keep in mind, you're trying to get information from the database into memory, okay? And that's information from database into memory. If your project is purely object-oriented, should come into an object. So the question is that, do I create the object first and then read information and fill out the pieces in the object? Or do I read the information from the database first and then create an object using that information that I already read? It's confusing probably the first time. We'll try to look at so many other examples between now and your exam time, hoping that we get that number a little bit lower for this semester. But just think about that. Do I create the object first? That becomes method one. This is method one that we just saw what's happening in your last sequence diagram you read. I create an object. I ask promotional offering. That's the domain layer object. I create an instance of it. And then that instance would be responsible to talk to the data access layer object to read the information about itself, fill out the pieces in the object in memory. This is what we call method one. That's your option one. So create an empty shell of an object by a controller or a factory. Controller is the design pattern you know. Factory is a design pattern we haven't talked about. Then in the constructor of the newly instantiated object, you will call the data access layer object to read the database and fill in all the fields. So creating object empty, and then that object would read from database using data access layer object. Now, here is the second method. The second method is saying that no, talk to data access layer object, read the information first. So another object could be a controller or any related object. Calls the data access layer object. See the arrow here from the cart item doesn't go to promotional offering. It goes to promotional offering data access layer object. Read the information, and that data access layer object would call the constructor of the domain layer object. Lots of words here. I will try to enact this in the whiteboard in a few seconds. So here's the description. The other method is calling the data access layer object and read database, and then data access layer object talks to your domain layer object to create that object with the information in memory. So let's see, let's try to make it a little bit different. It may or may not help, but let's try to look at it in another way. So I'm trying to have the whiteboard on. So the method one says another object. So what, oh class, let me add money to my parking. I'm sorry. I didn't park in my spot today. So, and I got $20 ticket the other day. So I got a reminder. All right, back into the teaching mode. So here is, let's say it's a controller, or let's call it not give it a name yet. And I'm just gonna work with another one. Let's say this is a bank. And then you have account. And you have account VA. So right there, let's say this is transaction controller. So this is your MVC instance, transaction controller. So you step in the bank, and they want to get your information from database, bring it to memory to do some work, information about your account. So method one says that here, go create. So create, I'm just putting C here. Create that account instance, and then that instance is responsible to read from database. Because the only thing they have is your ID or account number. They need all the other information. So they create that account instance. This is in memory, but the only information there is the ID. With that ID, the account retrieves the data from data access layer object. Now, the other method too is saying that when you come into the bank transaction controller, and you have an account, you need this information in the memory. You still don't have it. And then you have the account DA responsible to talk to your database. Just so you know, one big reason we layer design, we layer it, and every other design out there, any platform you work with, they have layered design. Because different layers, one reason is that different layers change at different rates. So when you're in banking, your logic, which is the account, doesn't change. Probably during the last 100 years, the logic hasn't changed a lot. But your user interface changes in a few years, like you have this page and then they change it to another page. Also the databases, banks or other organizations, they change their database platform from time to time. Logic rarely changes, or they change at a very slow rate, unless you're a startup. But the database, they change. Probably every 10 years, they can decide and acquire a new database. I think university did that with their databases or data centers. So the controller, instead of talking to the domain layer object first, it says, no, I'm just gonna read info. So it goes directly here. I'm gonna read information from database using the ID, okay, the account number. And that data access layer object then calls C on the domain layer object. So this is my version of the reality. The first version we call method 1. Usually on exam, what happens, I give you a question, I tell you it's using method 1 or method 2. You have to recognize by the order of operation. So order of operation in method 1 is I do C first, then this empty shell is created, then that one reads information from database. Method 2, I read first, then C happens. So I'll ask you, you have to look at the flow of the methods from this third object, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be a controller. It could be a related object. Like in this case, it's the card item, third object. So is it read first, C next? Is it C first, read next? That is method 1 or method 2. Questions? No? Okay, I have a lot of examples on this. We'll look at. Let's go back to the screen. Did I share the right version? Philip, do you see the big version?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. So checking out books, going back to my first set of questions, and then after that, we'll do method 1 versus method 2. This is checking out books class. This is the first time you're seeing this sequence diagram. So first of all, I want you to read it. There is a view layer object, checkout form. There is a handler, checkout handler. You see a patron, a loan item, book title, and book copy. Just helping you here, you know a patron is a patron. You know a loan is a loan. And just like a card item, a card, online card, has many card items. Here, the loan can have many loan items, meaning that you're checking out multiple items at the same time. So you understand that part. Book title and book copy. A book title gives information about the book, general information, publisher, year, and so on. Copies are different copies on the shelf. So a copy would have a return date. Like if the copy is out, the expected return date is a piece of information about that. Whereas the book title doesn't have those details about checking out, checking in. That happens to the book copy. So several copies of the same book title. That's like a one-to-many association that shows itself here. Because some pieces of information are available only in the book title, like the publisher and details, genre, and the details of the whereabouts of the copy are kept in the copy. So first of all, I need you to read this sequence diagram. So reading it, understanding the flow of activities or method calls, that's the first step. Second step is to tell me where data access layer objects should be. And again, where should be, by that, I mean when exactly they do the work that they are supposed to do. When, because you can place them anywhere on this model, but there is a time when they do that work. Is the C, R, U, D. When is that we need them to do C, R, U, or D? And we're gonna look at the solution after this, and then I'm gonna ask you questions about method 1 and method 2. So I'm gonna give you 2 minutes because this is a new sequence diagram showing. 2 minutes to read and think about data access layer object. Okay. Let's see who hasn't talked yet. Changing pages here on my screen. Nick F. Give me the first data access layer object that should be added to this diagram.
Would I was thinking of something, but I don't think it would be the first thing to add.
Which one?
I was thinking, they kind of don't really have anything with like returning the book.
This is a checkout book use case. Return book
Yeah.
will be a separate sequence diagram. Actually,
Okay.
we may look at that one today as well. But this is checking out book when, or give me the first data access layer object that I need.
Would be the customer information.
But there is no customer here. What do you see other than customer? Do you see another object that kind of reminds you of a customer?
Like library employee or the patron.
Exactly. So you see on this diagram a patron. You would need a patron data access layer object, patron DA. Would it do C, RU, or D, Nick?
C.
No, you're not creating a patron here. You're reading. So it's R. Good. Jake, Jacob S., you go next.
Loan DA.
Exactly. C, R, U, or D?
I believe that would be you.
Why you?
Because
You're checking out books, you're not returning books. If you're returning, you probably do you.
right. Okay, so C then.
Exactly. Thank you. Matt B, give me another one.
What about loan item?
What does it do?
It's a C.
Exactly. Riley, next one.
Reservation.
What?
Reservation.
Reservation? Is it C, R, U, or D?
You.
Exactly, you. Next, Nick L. You can write in the chat, Nick L. So next data access layer object, C, R, U, or D. Or I will go to Ryan and then come back to you, Nick L. Ryan, give me the next data access layer object.
Yeah, so would it be book title and would it be update?
Book title, no, it's just read. You're not updating book title. It's that object that doesn't change a lot because it's keeping general information about the book. But maybe updating book copy. So, or here, yes. You see that update status goes to book copy, it doesn't go to
Okay, so book copy would be update then.
exactly.
Okay,
Read and update. You'll both read and update. Perfect. So Nick L, any other data access layer objects you can identify here? All right, that's okay. We can come to you later. Nick L has unreliable connection. Patron read, exactly. Good. So the class did well, and this is what you told me. And I don't know, are you able to see this? Ryan, is it readable for you?
Yeah, we could see that.
Okay, then you see the patron DA is here, and I should block that. I should block something on the screen because it's just ignore the box you see on the top right. I think one of these boxes, they give you wrong information. Ignore the one box you see at the top. Is it method 1 or method 2? Going all the way to the top of my list, Tyler.
Sorry, can you say for which one again?
Patron DA and patron. Does it?
I think that's gonna be method 1.
Let's look at the whiteboard. So method 1, it creates.
No, it'll be method 2, I believe, actually.
So method 2, good job. So perfect. So whenever you have a read, I'll ask you, is it method 1 or method 2? And the box here at the top, see, that's the error I told you. Ignore the box. That's from the book. So that's wrong. Loan and loan DA. Click all the way at the bottom, loan DA. Why is this happening all the way at the end, Robert H? The saving of loan to the database.
Because you want to wait until all the changes are done before you actually save it.
Perfect. Can you also answer the same question about loan item DA?
Can you hover your mouse over that so I can see what you're talking about?
Here, this one, loan item DA. Here.
I actually can't see that in my Zoom. It's like cut off right below it.
So it's loan item DA there. I'll post the PowerPoint slide so you can look at it. That's loan item DA, and yes, loan item also needs all the information from the book copy and the book title before it can be saved to the database. So then let's go up here. You have book title, that's a read. Book title DA and book title. Look at book title DA and book title. Philip, is it method 1 or method B? Method 2.
For book title?
Yes. Let me show you the whiteboard quickly. See, this is method 1. You create the objects first and then you read from the database. Method 2, you read, then create.
Can you go back?
Going back to the slide now. Are you reading from the database first? And
I
then
think we're doing 2,
Exactly.
right?
Yes. You're reading from the database using DA. It's not district attorney, database access layer, and then you create. So that's method 2.
Perfect.
We have another read for book copy. Book copy, let's ask Caitlin. Book copy DA and book copy, is it method 1 or method 2?
Method 1.
Why? Let's look at the notes again. So method 1, it says you create the object, then read from database. Method 2, it says you read and then create. Is it method 1 or method 2? Are you reading from database first and then creating object, or the other way? Caitlin?
You're reading then creating?
Then that's method 2. So however you want to put that on your cards that you have for your exam, make sure it's the way that it helps you understand method 1 and method 2. There is a save book copy here, which does the update. And you could call it update. I don't like that they call it save because it's actually updating. It's save is save, but I would use the save for create. So you did really well reading this chart. Return book. Who was interested in returning books? One of you were. Was Josh? You were interested in return book? Sequence diagram. You have a checkout handler, same handler. So remember I told you the controller or handler, you cannot name them anything, or driver. That's MVC object, that MVC instance. So it could work on a group of use cases or on a group of actors or on a single actor. So it could cover use cases for a single actor, could cover use cases for multiple related actors, or cover related use cases. In this case, they have the handler that covers both checkouts and return. So they call it checkout handler. They plays a role in here. They don't have the view layer objects shown here. They have the book title, book copy, loan, and loan item, as you can imagine. Oh, one question I forgot to ask you from the last. Let's go back. Here, one more. Why do I have the update of reservation here? I forgot to ask you. Anybody can unmute themselves and tell me why reservation is updated here in the checkout books? No, so here is reservation object in case you had reserved the book before checking out. So some of you go and reserve the book online and it arrives and then you go check it out. This is that scenario. And see the condition, it says if reservation exists, it will be updated, meaning that you got the book already. So that's why this method is called only in the scenarios in which you have a reservation. Not always you have a reservation. And that reservation somehow disappeared from the other diagram because it was just too much to fit in one page. So let's look at this one. This is returning books. And tell me where your data access layer objects will be. Do they do C, R, U, and or D? 1 minute for this. Okay, let's see. I'm back at the beginning of the list as I see your names on my screen. Probably you see them in a different order. So Philip, you already talked for the second time. Philip, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead. Did you talk for the second time already?
Yeah, I already talked twice.
Twice? Okay, I'm gonna go to Tristan. Tristan, give me the first data access layer object here.
Would it be book title?
Exactly. C, R, U, or D?
Update.
Book title, I just told you that's the one doesn't change. It's the one that has the general information. Book copy is updated. Book title is just read, or here probably just sitting in between the handler and the book copy. So R here, book copy updated. Dylan S, give me another data access layer object.
Would status be one?
Status, no, it's an attribute somewhere, which is in the book copy, and you update that.
Then would loan be one?
What?
Loan?
Loan?
Yeah.
Loan DA, yes. Is it C, R, U, or D?
U.
Exactly. So you're checking and you're returning, so things needs to be updated. Caitlin just talked. Casey, next data access layer object.
Would loan item be one?
Exactly. C, R, U, or D?
Update U.
Exactly. So you have the book title, that's R, book copy U, loan U, and loan item U. Sometimes you may have a combination, or a lot of times you may have a combination of R and U, because you have to read some information before you update it sometimes. So let's look at this version. Is it readable for you, Casey? Do you see the things?
Yeah, I can read it.
So this is showing you all those DAs that you told me. Book title and book title DA and book title. So let's see, is it method 1 or method 2 here? Jesus, it's on you.
For which method?
For book title DA and book title, the way they work. Let me show the whiteboard note. So if you talk.
Oh, isn't it 1?
So if you talk to the domain layer object first, you create and then read from database, that's method 1. If you read from database first and then create, that's method 2. Which one of them is happening here?
Is it 1?
Look again. Are you reading first or creating first?
Oh, you're creating.
Here, is it red?
Oh, you're reading.
Exactly. So you talk to data access layer first, that's method 2. And then that data access layer object creates the object in the memory. Perfect. So book copy DA, it's a read here. Match C. Is it method 2 or method 1? Matsy? Oh, you have the chat. No, it's method 2 because you're reading first. You're reading, see? You call data access layer object first. Look at the notes from the whiteboard. When you call, let's see, if you call the data access layer object first, maybe I should rewrite this picture. So this is DA is called first. DA and then account. So if you call this one first, DA, that's method 2. So this is why if you call the DA first. So this is method 2. And then that one creates the instance in the database. In the memory, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the presentation. And then you have loan item DA. There is a read here and then it's updated. So you're first reading it. Loan item DA and loan item. Josh, is it method 1 or method 2?
Method 2.
Exactly. So a lot of saving, which is updating happens here. And I think we read everything. So loan, loan and loan DA. Oh, we haven't read that one. Is this showing up for you? It's at the bottom of the page or you don't see it?
No, we can't see that.
Okay, then I'll let you read the other one. That's also method 2. So a series of examples that we went through to examine what they do for us, data access layer object, and if they are method 1 or method 2. All these examples are there for you to look later. And then I'm just gonna surprise you with a new example. This is the last example, and I think I have one more. And that one more I will do as a review for Thursday. This is update agent information. I have the controller, I have the real estate office and real estate agent, okay? So you're updating agent information. Where should data access layer objects be? What do they do? This is going to be a quick question, 1 minute, and this is the last example we're looking at. And the other one for the next session. Okay, Josh already talked, Casey talked. Harrison, where should they be?
So for agent controller, or sorry, let me just start with the real estate office. That one's easy. Real estate option.
Yeah, controller is a controller, doesn't have a data.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my bad. But for real estate office, would it be update?
Mm-hmm. How about the agent?
Oh, real estate agent, that could also be update.
Exactly. Look here. Thank you, Harrison. Look here.
Yeah.
You have the data access layer object and data access layer object for agents and office. Mike K, is it method 1 or method 2 here? Are you doing see first, read next? That's method 1. If you do read first, see next, that's method 2. Which one is happening here?
Read first.
No, this is actually, look, it goes to the domain layer object first.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See, the language I use, because I know things differently. I don't know if the same way is conveyed to you. When I say C, so see, this is real estate office. That's a domain layer object. So when you asked a method in that, so that object is created in memory. And then that object reads from database. So that's method 1. So while the method name doesn't tell you that it's a C, it's actually a C here because that object needs to be created in memory.
Okay.
So method 1 here, you create the object first, and then that object reads from database. How about real estate office? Let's see who is after Mike. Nick F. Real estate agent office was method 1. How about real estate agent? Are you talking to the domain layer object first or to the data access layer object first? Maybe that's the best wording for this example because the name of the methods, they're not helping you. So here, look at this example. Are you talking to the domain layer object first or to data access layer object first? If you talk to the domain layer object first, that's method 1. If you talk to the data access layer object first, so this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2, that's method 2. Which one is that? I have to go back to the pictures so you to see it.
Yeah.
Are you
And it's for real estate agent?
Talks to the real estate agent first. That's the domain layer object, and that's method 1. Yes. And then that object, that empty shell, talks to the data access layer object to get information from database. We'll look at 1 or 2 more examples at the beginning of the session on Thursday. I would like you to read these slides and make sense of this for yourself in your own language. Draw something so that note will help you on the exam. There will be 1 question on this, at least method 1 versus method 2. On the data access layer object, what they do and when they do what they do. Is it CRUD? That's also 1 more question on the exam. And this is also the work you will be doing in GC4. When you add your data access layer objects, you would think about method 1 or method 2. You would think about CRUD. That's all for today. If you have any questions, I'm here. If not, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on Thursday.
See you Thursday.
See you. Bye.
Yeah, I actually did have a question real quick. I was confused on the difference of 1 and 2.
Yes.
So I just wanted to go over it the way I have it in my head.
Sure.
So the first option is create and then read, but the create has to go to the first option and then read goes to the second.
Create always goes to the domain layer object because that object has the constructor. Yes. So what does it get, the message first or the second? That's the question. Go ahead.
Okay, and then second goes to the second one and then back to the domain layer object.
It goes to the data access layer and then back to the domain and calling the constructor. So this is, think about this constructor. Is it called at the beginning? That's method 1. Is it called at the end? That's method 2. And the constructor always exists inside the domain layer object, which is real estate or account or real estate agent. Real estate agent DA or account DA or customer DA, they read from the database. So if the reading happens at the beginning, that's method 2. If reading happens after the object is created, that's method 1. I think you have it. I think the way you're describing to yourself, just organize your ideas, and I'll ask you to describe this to the class on Thursday at the beginning, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
own language. Thank you. All right, so questions for me, Nick F or Marty? No? Okay.